continue on a theme that I've heard throughout the day and that we just heard together as well. And that is, how do we really continue to weave equity, economic equity, social justice in the conversation that we have now about zero net energy, zero net water districts. So I have a couple of slides that are going to get queued up here. I'm going to zoom through them very quickly, just kind of set a frame for our conversation before we invite our panelists up to the stage. So what I'm going to challenge us to do is to think about Z neighborhoods as an opportunity to build community power. Community power in every sense of the word, not just the literal one. And I want to start that by sharing with everybody maybe a little bit different view on the sustainability movement, all the great green technologies and green marketplaces that have been developed through the collective work of the people in this room and in many others. And I'm going to awkwardly see if I can figure out how to advance the slides. There we go. So community power, why does it matter? Well, what I'd like to ask for all of us to do is to think about clean energy as a new technology, just like green buildings, just like sustainable neighborhoods, like well buildings, like renewable technologies themselves. And like most new technologies, they're going to tend to follow a technology adoption curve, like pretty much everything, right? So new technology is introduced to the marketplace. It tends to be introduced at a premium. It's adopted first by early adopters in the marketplace, aka people with a lot of excess money that they can spend on stuff they want instead of stuff they need. And then as that technology is adopted more broadly in the marketplace, lo and behold, that 60-inch LED, 4,000K, whatever, you can tell I know a lot about televisions, flat panel television is $2.99 at the Walmart, and everybody can bring one home for Christmas. But the challenge is that clean energy is not a luxury. From our perspective, from my personal perspective, it's a necessity. And we can't afford the social costs of leaving our neighbors who are struggling the most behind. And so what does that mean in terms of the numbers? This graph is looking at energy insecurity in America. And what this says is that the poorest 20% of our country are paying the most for their electricity. 10% or more of their entire household income to keep the lights on. That's a lot. And in some places in America, it's even worse than this. Like Baltimore, which is a city that Groundswell does a lot of work in, 12.9% of families living below the poverty line are paying $200 plus for their electricity bill every month. And there are 10 cities in America where more than 10% of the population living in poverty is paying that kind of electricity bill. And that's not just outrageous, that's a call to action. Now, why is that? It's not just because lower income families have a lower household income overall, therefore their typical electricity bills are higher. It's because, as many people in this room have probably literally written the book on, affordable housing for lower income families is often not, green communities LEED certified. It's often not as efficient. People not only are living in rental properties where even if they had the opportunity, they don't have the ability to invest in low E windows and more insulation. And they're also not replacing stuff until it breaks. So a lower income family, our neighbors who are struggling economically are not likely to go out and have the most energy efficient refrigerator, hot water heater, you name it. And it doesn't end there. As we just heard from the previous panel, the same communities that are struggling with energy insecurity, with the economic inequities around that, are also struggling with the public health consequences. Now, you can't say that all of these public health issues are tracked directly back to a coal-fired smokestack because the same neighborhoods that get impacted the most by pollution from dirty energy are the same neighborhoods that get impacted by pollution from everything, right? All the same bad, dirty stuff tends to be located next to the people who need support the most. But in this country today, you can almost predict your lifespan by your zip code, and that's a problem. And these issues are also very disproportionately impactful when you think about our country in terms of geography or in terms of race. Energy inequity 46% in the Southeast, more than 50% African American families. Now, for a lot of folks, there's been a tremendous celebration around solar, and God bless the solar revolution, right? After 40 years, this past May, we finally hit 1 million solar installations in America. We'll hit 2 million within the next 2 years. It's awesome stuff. But the reality is that about 49% of our country can't use rooftop solar at all because of their financial circumstances, because they rent, because they don't live in the right location. But we have an opportunity in community solar for it to really be a game changer in terms of economic equity, a game changer in terms of social justice, the economic opportunity that comes with those investments, and access. So this is kind of how it works. Instead of having to put solar on your rooftop, you're able to subscribe for your electricity to a nearby solar array, typically within your same utility service territory, sometimes just down the block. And it's on track to be an incredibly important clean energy solution in America. NREL, and we're very fortunate to have a panelist with us this afternoon from NREL, has said that it is actually on track to become the single largest distributed energy solution in the country within the next 5 years. So today, there may be 100, 120 community solar projects in America, period, 40 of which are in Colorado. Colorado is actually the leading state in the country for community solar. It was the first to pass community solar laws. Within 5 years, that could look more like 5,000 projects, which is an $8 billion investment opportunity. So not only is there the ability here to think about community solar as one among many solutions for ZED neighborhoods, as one among many solutions for bringing cleaner, more affordable power to more people, as one more way that the solar energy industry can help to create more jobs in America. But that $8 billion investment opportunity isn't just about work, that's about wealth. And it's an opportunity to really be innovative in the way that we're bringing these kinds of projects to our neighborhoods so that we're giving communities literal equity. So it's not just the same 5 dudes in Silicon Valley that make all this money too.